So first question, just to kind of break the ice, what is your favorite drink right now? What have you been drinking?
Are we talking adult beverage or non-adult beverage?
Either one is fine with me, whichever your favorite is.
Well, I love a Coke Zero. That's kind of my non-alcoholic drink of choice. But if we're calling our shots, I like an old fashioned.
There you
That's
go.
that's one of my favorite drinks is an old fashioned.
Love to hear it. Yeah, so I'm down with the zero sugar drinks too. I think my favorite is the cherry Pepsi zero sugar though. But
Not bad,
yeah,
not bad.
sometimes it's hard to find the Pepsi though, and I have to go with the Coke. So I don't dislike the Coke version of it. So yeah, so I always ask the drink question just to try to break the ice a little bit and get folks comfortable. But again, I want to thank you for your time and being a guest on the show. So first things first, where are you from? And tell us what your first musical memory is or was.
Okay, so I'm originally from Southwest Missouri, down around Joplin,
Okay.
little town Carthage. But I've moved around a bit. I now live in the St. Louis area, and that's where I work and live. But I've lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been all over the place.
And so what growing up, what was the first thing you can remember that was music related?
So my grandparents had an old like record player that played the small, I think they're 78s or 45s, and they had a whole bunch of just little A side B side records that they would
Mm.
play, and I can remember listening to Elton John and you know Along Came Jones by the Coasters and a whole bunch of old songs, and we would just tear ass and dance around the house as kids to all those songs. So that's probably my earliest musical memory is just being exposed to that kind of music.
That's
Also, my
amazing.
dad
The
my dad
Coasters, I would not have
was
guessed that.
yeah. My dad was a big Willie Nelson fan too, so he had all his music, and we listened to that quite a bit too.
It's always interesting as an interviewer to hear a songwriter's influences, especially someone like you who's so eclectic. Like you have so many different um, influences that shine through with your art.
Yeah, yeah.
So growing up as a kid, what was one attribute that you learned as a kid that still kind of stands true for you today?
Well, I was diagnosed with childhood leukemia at the age of 6,
Okay.
and I had to grow up real fast, and I had to learn pretty easily to kind of like prioritize things in my life, what's important, what's not. And I think that that's the one thing that's carried over from childhood into adulthood is my ability to not sweat the small stuff and to see the bigger picture.
And that's
And
definitely a huge part of your channel for sure, I think, right?
yeah, I'm pretty open about what I've been through health wise. I'm an advocate for other people going through that kind of stuff, and it's just it's something that sticks with you even though I haven't had any kind of relapse or anything since childhood, but it's still something that's very apparent in my life. It's still something that's there, and I have a lot of people that come across my page and stuff that are going through that same stuff. So it's something that I try to address and make people feel comfortable about when they come forward and talk to me about it.
And I love that about your channel too. You're a very inspirational guy. That's why I wanted to. Part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you today. There's a lot to unpack about Ross, and I'm really excited to introduce him or you to all of our followers and stuff. So, what instruments do you play? I've seen you play the ukulele. Is there more than that as well?
Yeah, so I play. I started doing music on my own with drums. I was a drummer for many many years, and then I learned a little bit of guitar, but I got these tiny little hands, so guitar doesn't always work for me.
Right.
So I decided to learn a stringed instrument that I could easily manage, and that's why I picked up ukulele. Um, my thing with ukulele though was I didn't want to play it as a novelty. A lot of people play it as kind of
Right.
a compact or novelty, but I wanted to play it as, you know, my instrument. So I
Mm,
don't play it like a lot of people play it. I play it almost like it's my guitar.
mm.
And I think that's what a lot of people like about my playing, particularly with the ukulele. But I also played dulcimer. I started playing dulcimer a little bit, and I'm thinking about buying a lute.
Let's go.
Learning
L, just so
lute.
we're clear out there, that's an Lute, lute, which is a
L-U-T-E.
musical instrument. I love it. I love it.